dynamic, okay? You know how many people from the past I would randomly suddenly be like, how about that guy that flirted with me one time? Maybe I'll DM him. Like, I'm in lockdown. There's no finding anybody, right? Yeah, I'm like, that's literally what it is. Because especially to date for 6 weeks, and you didn't say like boyfriend. So we have to assume he was dating other people. Mm-hmm. He essentially chose someone over you. It happens. It happens to all of us. That person comes back. I would just tell my friend, like, I mean, you trying to be a second choice here? Yeah. Like, or that guy, I'd be like, we dated for 6 weeks. You know what you're getting? Like, you want to be my boyfriend or what? Yeah. Like, oh, let's grab a beer? No. Beer. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Shooters Gotta Shoot. I am your host, Spera, and today I'm doing a solo episode with my boy, Fonzie, as always. So first of all, if you are listening to us and you want to watch the show, head on over to our YouTube page. It's in the description, or just go to YouTube, type in Shooters Gotta Shoot podcast, all right? It's more fun to watch. We're having a good time. And yeah, just go on over there. Watch it. Other thing, Patreon is back. We're doing extra episodes every week. Patreon.com/shootersgottashoot. Now, I have a general update on the show, okay? You've probably already noticed. There was a break for 2 weeks because I had computer problems and stuff hit the fan in a good way of just life and comedy. I've been very, very busy. But basically, the show right now is currently losing money. So join the Patreon for especially this next part. This is what I've decided to do, okay? The Patreon, we're going to have an extra episode every week. That's just me solo, or I'll take on guests if you guys suggest any guests. But the public episode, we're just going to do every other week, all right? So that way, I make sure I get great guests for you guys. I make sure it comes out on time. It's going to be bi-weekly, all right? Until the Patreon hits a certain amount, or with sponsorship, we get the numbers up. It's just not essentially worth the money right now that this is kind of my perfect little compromise. We're going to do every other week, so 2 episodes a month. But if you want one every week, and real-time updates, because I record those like the day I record it, that shit comes out that day. Join the Patreon, which is patreon.com/shootersgottashoot. Okay, so that's my big update up top. We're bi-weekly now. And I was like, I had an update on something I talked. Oh, okay. Episode with Megan Hanley. All right. So I mentioned the weird date. You remember Fonzie with the bill situation. And you thought it was a date.
Yes.
I feel like every man I talked to was like, nah, it's clearly a date. Who would just hang out with someone as a friend? Okay, well, here's the update on that. We did get dinner a second time, like at the week, next week, very, very quickly after. So again, feels like date vibes. This man picked this place near his apartment. Can I add that? That feels like you're like, oh yeah, for sure a date, right? For sure, like maybe even trying to get laid. Halfway through that date, we were just not date. Well, it's not a date. I buried the lead. Sorry. Halfway through dinner, it's just a dinner now because I'll reveal this info. So we're talking and I was like, oh, is any part of you nervous moving to New York, like making new friends, meeting new people, blah, blah. And he was like, well, actually, I've been making new friends like pretty easily. He joined some like basketball league. He's like, I met a bunch of guys there. He goes, I met you. Oof. And then I blacked out for the third thing that he said because I was like, what? In my head. Get this, though, Fonzie. You want this?
Jesus.
Ready? He pays. Right? Right?
What?
Right? I was like, I got called a friend, but now you pay. And I was like, yeah, sure? Because in my head, I'm like, because I'm your fucking friend, apparently. Right? Like, I was like, okay. And then he's like, yeah, no, I got it. Waiter walks away. And he says, he goes, you'll get the next one.
Oh my God.
I was like, dagger, Fonz.
Oh.
Isn't this crazy? I was like, I've never heard of a scenario like this.
That is wild.
It's wild, right?
Wild.
It's weird.
No one's ever, like, I'm sure you told other people, they're not like, oh yeah. Everyone's like, what the hell?
Every man especially is like, I don't know what's happening. And they were like, no offense. And they're like, no disrespect. They're like, not that, all my guy friends are good people. Right. And they're like, look, I'm not saying like I pay for dinner, I expect to get some. They go, but I only would do that from someone like I want to date or want to hook up with.
Right.
That they were like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't either. But then the next one comment made it be like, oh. And then on top of that, I was like, oh, did I just lock in a once a week friend date?
Yeah, you got dinner dates lined up?
I don't know, because we walked to the train, and this man, of course, walking me to the train, like chatting away about his neighborhood, and is all like, what do you got going on this weekend and next week and da-da-da, you know, and I was out of town, and I was like, yeah, I'm going out of town. Like, he's like, oh, okay, like when you get back, I'll text you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. Yeah. But in my head, I was like, I'm not going to do this consistently. I'm not opposed to like having a new friend. But I'm going to be honest, like the real behind the scenes also is like, I mean, maybe this friend will lead to other men. Like, I hate to say that of like,
right.
But you know, that kind of makes me be like, look, there's no reason to be a dick and not be this person's friend. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't need to be having dinner with this man once a week as a friend.
Or it's like you're going to get involved with his new friend group and it's just going to be more girls he's been taking to dinners.
Yeah, right. Well, this is hilarious. There was a comment he made of being like, he was like, man, I feel like New York is a great place to be a man. And I just was like, and I was like, he knows. I thought I was slickly coming in right on his like first entering to New York. Like, this man don't know yet. It's like, he already knows. He probably met 8 women on the train that day. God. But anyway, listen, perfectly nice person. No hard feelings. But it just was so funny. I was like, the last time I was in the studio, that's what I was chatting about. So I got to give a little update to the fans on that. Yeah, I've never had that before. And I know I talked about on the Patreon. We called this man Ruby Rosa. That was the nickname we gave him. He did text me he was coming to a Cellar show. He was like, oh, are you on this one? I was on a different one, whatever. He asked me for places to eat nearby that he didn't need a res. But then get this, have not heard from him since. You think there would at least be a text like, oh, the show was so cool. I liked these comics. Like,
right. The dinner was great. Thanks for the...
Yeah, I don't know. He knows I have a pod. I'm like, maybe he listened to the Megan episode. I was like, that actually would be kind of funny.
How do you not take a peek at the pod, you know?
Well, it was funny because every time we'd have dinner, he'd be like, oh, yeah, you got to send me the pod. And I was like, yeah, I'll get it to you. Totally. And I just never sent it because I was like, you don't need this. You don't need this info. Anyway, so that's my only, I guess, little update up top. But he wants some more in real time updates. Join the Patreon. Patreon.com/shootersgottashoot. Okay. All right. So I do my little question box every Sunday. Some of them I don't get to or I need like a longer explanation. So we're going to do a rapid fire episode today. Have a little fun. Okay. So Fonzie, I got this one right here. Okay. Ready? How to navigate being a strong, independent woman when you miss being in a relationship. Okay. When I got this question, I literally quit my questions that Sunday because I was like, this is heavy. This is a lot. Okay. Just know this is not an easy question. I'm going to say something I think some women kind of don't want to hear. Don't be saying I'm a strong, independent woman. You don't need to say that out loud. Just be it. Just be it. Okay? I consider myself the same thing. But like, if someone always is like, well, listen, as a strong, independent, it's like, oh my God, we get it. We get it. You don't need to like repeat that out loud. Like repeat it in the mirror for some affirmations or something, but you don't have to like say that to me. Like that's one of those things that's like confidence. Like you can't say you're confident, just be confident. People read it on you, right? So this is a funny thing of like, it feels like you can't be both. Like you can't be a strong, independent woman and have a relationship. I get that. I've been there. But honestly, this is a mindset, I feel like. And I know these questions are short, but I'm a little bit like, you're in your own mindset of like, it's either or. It's not either or. All the women I know that I'm friends with, the reason I'm friends with them is because they are strong, independent women. And part of that is because I don't have a schedule that I can hang out with my girls every frickin' weekend, right? So I need friends that have their own shit going on. They have their own lives, and they're not going to be mad or punish me if I can't, make it to every dinner or every drinks or even every birthday. I'll even throw that out there, okay? Though that is something I try to be a good friend and make sure I like put that on the calendar and stop by at least, right? So I understand the thing of like, yeah, right now you're like, okay, like I want to be in a relationship. And I'm just like, girl, same. I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but like, same. Being in a relationship would be so nice. I would love to be in one. I would love to have updates on here that are not a man calling me a friend at dinner. Okay. I would love that. Unfortunately, I don't have it right now. Right. So I think it's like, it's just really hard. It is really hard to balance this feeling of you have to choose when I think it's more, yeah, being a strong, independent woman, a lot of times we don't feel like men are attracted to that or that they value that. However, I feel like every male friend I have always is like, I can't be this person's whole world. Like, I don't like if it's expected of me to like be with them 24/7 every, weekend, the whole weekend, da-da-da-da-da. So honestly, I think in the long run, you will be better off. But I just think it's a mindset thing. You can't just be like, oh, no, I can't be a strong, independent woman anymore just because I want a relationship. It's like, you can want both, right? Am I crazy, Fonzie?
You can be both.
You can be both,
Yeah.
right? Would you say your girl's a strong, independent woman?
Oh my God. I am the girl that guys are afraid of. You know what I mean? I'm the one who's like, you're my world. One of us has to have a job.
See, you just need a guy like Fonzie that's just going to love you and, is still getting his shit together a little bit. That's what you... No, I mean, look, you can have both. And basically, like, the world, though, I know, the TikToks and a lot of the advice, right, almost makes you feel bad. Like, you admitting you want a relationship suddenly means, like, oh, that's not bad bitch energy. That's not strong, independent bitch energy. That's, oh, now you're being a sad bitch that's needy. Which, I'll be honest with you, men find neediness attractive, right? People like to feel needed, okay? It's a weird line, though. It's like, yeah, don't be a desperate needy bitch. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, that's like a vulnerable thing. Mm-hmm. In terms of when you are going on dates, like I said, no need to say out loud, I'm a strong, independent woman, okay? Because one of my big advices for first couple dates in general is try not to talk about work like either person. That's just, it's not flirty. It's not super fun. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, yeah, a little bit. Oh, this is what I do, yada, yada. But like, who wants to sit and talk about work a whole date? Like, I've never had a fun date and been like, well, the first half, he was telling me about what he did. Like, I'm like, just, are you paying or not? That's all I need to know on a date. That's really it. It's just like, we splitting or we friends or I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I'd say just, and it's totally fine to also be on a date. And if they're like, oh, what are you looking for? Just be like, oh, yeah, I'm dating. Hopefully I'll find someone I connect with and we'll continue to date. And that's really it. And, oh, okay, I got this question on a date recently, Fonzie. You haven't dated in a minute, you got your girl.
Yeah.
But have you ever had somebody ask you, like, you're on a date with someone from, whether you're from a dating app or not, but just more this. They ask you, like, how is dating going for you?
Oof.
Right? Isn't that such a...
It's, like, inappropriate.
It's a weird trap because you're like, okay, well, I can't be like, it's so great. I get free shit all the time or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can't be like, the person I super liked wasn't available tonight, so I'm here with you.
Yeah, you can't be too honest, but you also can't be like too negative.
Yeah.
Like, are you kind of just like, yeah, New York, it sucks. Like, it's a tough spot to be in.
Just opening up that, like, idea of other, like, it's just so weird.
Right? It's odd. It's just,
like
it's not, again, not a fun question.
No.
Like, don't do work, don't do that, right? Like, the looking for, I feel like, is fair, but first dates, I'm very like, just see if you have a good time.
Right.
See if you have a good time. And a lot of times with men, if you bring up like kids and shit first date, it's a little much. It could be a little intimidating. I do agree with someone will be like, no, but like, if he like wants those things, it shouldn't scare him. It's like, yeah, but the first date's really just about like, are we having a good vibe here? Do we want a second date? Right?
Right.
Like, do you remember your first date with your girl?
Kind of.
Why were you drunk?
Well, we just known each other for so long too.
Okay.
Like,
So then, your first date wasn't even this like get to know you thing.
It's just like we're hanging out.
Ugh, fuck you, Fonzie.
I know. It's very minimum work.
Fonzie's like, I just got it like that. I don't really have to work for it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Some of these questions I got here. How important do you feel? Wait, what is this? Oh, sorry. How important do you rate feeling attracted or not on a first date? I mean, I know the male answer to this. 10 out of 10. Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because anytime I've gone out with someone and I've told a guy friend, oh, I really like hanging out with him, really like talking to him, my attraction isn't fully there though. Immediately they go, why are you going on another date? Like, the male brain cannot comprehend going on another date with someone you're not even attracted to. And hilarious, I talked about this with Allie Colbert, right? Or Colbert, fuck. I always fuck up her name. You know her. You just listened to her episode. It's this weird thing that's almost like, if you date women, everyone's like, well, of course you have to be attracted. But like, if you're someone that dates men, everyone's like, well, you know, it can grow. Like, you should emphasize more their other qualities. I feel like a lot of this is partly a societal thing, but like, I don't buy the bullshit when it's like, well, it's because men are visual creatures. Like, we just talked to Allie. Lesbian women are also visual creatures. Like, I feel like women are visual creatures as well, right? I'm someone personally, I hate being like, it's important to me, but it's more, I'm going to say, I personally have never really experienced the growth. I have with someone that was a friend of mine, but I always thought they were cute. I always was like, oh, they're cute when I first met them. Mm-hmm. There still was a little something there. I didn't meet them and go, they could be cute if they have a good personality and grow on me and, you know, buy me flowers or something. Right. Like, right? So I'm like, I know many women are like, it can grow, it works. Personally, I've never seen it. I've never really done it. So for me, I mean, I might put it at an 8. I won't go 10 out of 10, but I'm like, it's important.
I think it's up there with everybody.
It's hard not to, right? Because it's an 8 of importance. That being said, your personality can bump you up points, down points. I mean, that was a whole TikTok fucking series game we played on the show. All right. I love one person just goes, how are you?
Well, how are you?
I am doing good. I got a little burnt out, a little tired. Yeah. So that's why I was like, I redid the show. I have a therapist. Hilarious of my therapist kind of has just been my business consultant in a weird way. That like our last session, like the whole first half, I was like, man, I just am talking my business shit out loud with this woman, and like none of this is feelings. You know?
If I post my reel at 12 p.m. versus 3 p.m.
Yeah, I'm like, the stress of the social media, the fucking clips and shit. Oh my God. That being said, I am looking for someone to help with video stuff. So if you listening to this are a video editor and you already like the show, that might be the job for you. Okay, I'm open to doing that. Like I said, I don't have a lot of money, but we could work something out. It's just hilarious. I'm like, oh yeah, I should be getting to deep rooted issues, and I'm like, I'm a little jet lagged. I'm like, what am I talking about?
Vegas,
here?
Baby, am I right?
Yeah, or like the only good thing about being really tired, which I have been lately, is I just have not had the energy to get worked up over stuff. And it's actually been really great, especially with dating, but even with other shit in life that normally would rile me up. So my landlord gave me my security deposit back, right? I got out of my lease, but they only sent me like 2/3 of it. And I was like, where the fuck is the third, right? Or a quarter, whatever. But I was sitting there like, where? And then I sat there and went, do you just take the hit and like move on and consider it like, well, that was the fee for breaking the lease, whatever, right?
Right.
And here's the thing, because I accidentally left 2 shelves up that are removable shelves. They're like some stupid adhesive
God
thing.
forbid.
I just forgot. You look at them every day. I'm like, I thought they were part of the bathroom. Whatever, right? So I was like, do I really want to fight this? But what was nice was I didn't get riled up. Like, I really didn't get mad, and I was kind of surprised at myself. I was like, oh, like, normally this would really, like, especially, like, I don't have a day job. Like, money is money.
Right.
But I just didn't have the energy. I was like, I don't have the energy to fight this. And I was like, let me sleep on this, figure this out. Literally, Fonzie, like a day or two later, she sent me the rest. Because you can't Zelle the whole amount. And then I was like, Erica, you fucking idiot. I would have to send my rent in 2 payments.
Oh my God.
That I was
you
like,
were sending the rent already in 2 payments.
Like, I had to do the same thing. But it was so funny that it just forgot it completely. Just because I hadn't and had to pay it in like 2 months. And I just was like, oh. But how nice was that I wasted no energy getting riled up. Right. And then it ended up working out anyway. And I was like, oh. That's the good thing about being exhausted right now is I'm like, dating, all this shit, like the weird friend thing at the dinner. I just don't really care. I'm
Zen,
like,
yeah,
it's a very like, all right, come into my life or don't. Like,
yeah, like
I'm kind of, I don't feel like this is the feminine energy, but it feels like the feminine energy for me.
What, like just being
very like whatever kind of comes. I'm putting really no effort into chasing whatsoever.
I wouldn't even call it feminism or or whatever, like feminine. I mean.
Feminism.
My mic's going off.
Oh, is it? No. Keep it on. I'm having a fun time. I feel weird. Like I said, I feel weird if I just talk by myself without some Fonzie input.
But like 99% of the time, you're going to be like, yo, where the hell is the other third of my security deposit?
Well,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was a weird, like, I'm in a weird zen mode where my brain started being like, you know, you never lost anything from a security deposit all your years in New York. Like, I kind of was like, you're doing good. And it was almost a weird universe thing of like, comedy work and more work has been coming to you. And I just had a weird zen of like, more money will come.
Right.
Because in my head with the shelves, I remember being like, all right, you take like $100 off or something. Yeah. 200 even, I'd go, whatever. I'd be like, whatever. It's not going to kill me. It's not worth me having to get a letter from a lawyer and whatever the hell. Yeah. So I just was like, I had a money mark. It was more than that made me go, fuck. And then I still just went, I just don't have it in me.
You take it on the chin.
And then I weirdly feel like the universe just rewarded me. Being like, look how calm you are. Look how you're doing. You're handling this really well, even though your life is not clear. Not clear whatsoever. Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. Okay. As a tall girl, what's your opinion on girls who only date tall guys, like 6 feet and up? Okay. In general, you're allowed to have any preference you want to have, okay? Height is specifically a preference that it's like, just know that you are making your own pool smaller. So, like, I would pitch this to, especially a woman who's not super tall. It's kind of like, all right, would you rather be alone forever or, God forbid, date a man who's 5'10"? You know what I mean? Like, something like whatever, right? And I think it's one of those things, like, as time goes on, I think a lot of people, like, finally kind of give up on that standard of they just realize, like, yeah, more shit is more important. Like, Matchmaker Maria has a great line. She says if she's like, you know, her second baby, she had to have an emergency C-section. And she's like, do you think I was on the operating table thinking about how tall my husband was? You know what I mean? Like, she's like, my husband stepped up so much that day and like taking care of me that she was like, I was so happy. I just chose this person. Obviously, height didn't matter. Now, we just said attraction matters, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm not a fool. I'm not an idiot. Obviously, it's easier to be attracted to a man who is taller than you. I'll just at least say that. So, like, I'm in the boat of I'm just under 6 feet. So it's like, yeah, it's tough. And I'm not going to lie, I've put the height filter on a dating app to be like, let me just match with guys that are like at least taller than me. And I've even given the gamble of the 6 foot man where you go, is it actually 6 feet? Who knows? We'll find out, right? I personally don't mind, but it is this thing, if I'm being honest, it's like, it is very hard if you are a good chunk shorter than me. Like, I feel like 5'8's a little tough. But I have, like, been with a 5'8 guy and was into him. So, again, it's like, look, personally, I can really carry you in a way that, like, I don't care, or also just how you carry yourself. But, like, the last dude I cried over was shorter than me. 5'9", 5'10". So, and I, like, had no qualms about, like, walking around with that man, holding hands, like, kissing in public. No part of me at all felt weird. And that's usually the part that makes you feel weird is the publicness. Mm-hmm. Where, like, I've had the date with the guy shorter, and then, like, the goodbye, I'm standing there like, oh, now there's just, like, a weird feeling. And you feel terrible, because I sit there going, I don't care if you're short, right? I've said that on the show. But it's something that's, like, if we're all being honest, obviously it's easier to be attracted to the man, or, you know, if you date women and you like them taller than you, whatever. Like, it's a preference. We all have preferences. But I think, like, a lot of women have that standard that really shouldn't. But I totally get, like, yeah, there's kind of a window too with me though of like certain size smaller, it's just tough. Attraction's tough for both ways, but never say never. I'm open to it, but unfortunately in the online world, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard, right? How tall are you, Fonzie?
5'8".
5'8", right. But, like, I know you got a great personality. Yeah. Like, Fonzie's a fun time that if some 6 foot chick was like, I'm in love with Fonzie, I'd be like, I get it.
My girl's like 3 inches taller than me.
Is she really?
Yeah.
You got a tall lady?
I got a tall lady. Actually, she's definitely taller. 2 or 3 inches. Nothing crazy.
But good for you.
Yeah.
Also, she's a Jersey girl, so she wears heels.
Exactly.
But you're like, wear them.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. We just, like, make jokes, though, you know, because she's like, she'll, like, bend down and kiss me on the forehead.
That's actually
And
hilarious.
I giggle like a little schoolgirl.
See, look at that. See, wow, look at you.
Short king, baby.
Short king in the room. I didn't know we had a short king in the room.
Yeah.
I know, because that's always a question. People are like, what defines a short king?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's weird because it's like, I guess to me, just shorter than me is 5'10", but I feel like it's 5'8". I feel like it's just a man that dates taller than them, or is just on the shorter side.
Yeah, there's guys who are like 5'10", just shy of 6 foot, being like, I'm a short king. It's like, I would be able to dunk if I was your height.
There was some viral party I saw, and it was like short kings and tall queens. And there was like a video, and it like looked a little funny, but I also was like, oh, that's kind of hilarious. Yeah, it's a TikTok if you can find it. Or maybe it was on Instagram. I have no idea. Okay. How about this one? What do you think is the best way a man should shoot his shot? Okay. I always say with this, you got to just be direct.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than like, honestly, getting any type of DM that's just like, hey, is so like, my initial reaction is always just like, what do you want? What does this person want? Like,
just
not
on
even a man,
hey.
just anyone. Right? Like, I've had that where people are like kind of just chatting and you're just waiting. You're like, when's the ball gonna drop? Right? However, you come in like chatting flirty. I don't hate that. Because I'm like, okay, I see what's up.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the DM version, I say you got to kind of get to it quick would be my advice. Nice little compliment. Get to it quick. Show your intentions, because that also shows confidence, right? And you're like, and the chatting thing almost feels like, are you going to bother me even if I say no and like keep this chat rolling?
Right.
I think that's what it is.
No, that's a good call.
Yeah. And then in person, it's I feel like I mentioned this before. It's often a personal space thing of like, let someone like see you're coming into their space, like give a little wait, like make sure you catch their eye, at least however you decide to approach them. But again, I feel like it's just like chat something up, say something, and then eventually just be like, I think you're really, cute. I think you're really beautiful. Like, I would love to get your number and like get a drink sometime if you'd be down, like whatever.
Perfect.
Right? That's pretty good. Ooh, you know what I did? Oh, I had this weekend. So I went to a birthday party. I stopped by it. I was a comedian. So it was kind of a small bar, but it was crowded with comedians. But then, of course, regular people. So comedian brings a girl. She's got a friend. And, we're all chatting. And she finds these other guys cute. And I was like, oh, who are they? And they were at the show that they were all at with the comedian. So I was like, oh, and she's like, oh, I kind of want to talk to that guy. And so I was like, I'll break the ice. I don't care. And let me tell you, there's nothing like confidence of when you're not the one shooting a shot, right? So, but I all of a sudden just was like, I'll just go up and pretend like, oh, are you guys comedians? Even though I'm like, I know you're not. I know they're fucking not.
In the crowd.
But such an easy, just like, because we're there for a birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, yo, this is a great move, though. You're somewhere for someone's birthday, and there's, a mix of people. Even when you're like, I know this person ain't part of the party, play dumb. Play dumb. Just be like, oh, you guys are here for so-and-so's birthday? If they're like, oh, no. Like, and then they just started chatting, just a nice group of dudes. They're like, oh, this guy's from out of town. I live here. Just chatting. And then I just brought that girl in the convo. And then I just left her.
You just get up and leave?
Well, I didn't. We were all standing, Right, but I just was a part of it. And then once she was talking to the guy she wanted to talk to, I wrapped up whatever I was saying and moved on.
Facilitator.
Right, but then it got me on a roll, Fonzie.
Oh, yeah?
So then I'm like, all right, I got to leave. It's like 2-ish in the morning. But then I see this guy who's really, really cute. And he's talking to one of the bartenders. And I was like there for a while chatting with the bartenders. And so I go, ooh, I'm going to do basically the same move, but I'll just make it something else. So I was like, I got a new move. I'm using it. I just went up to him or the bartender. I was like, hey, man, what's up? And then the friend, I was like, oh, do you work here too? I don't fucking know. But it just got him to start talking to me.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, no, he's like, I actually like live right by here. So I, stop here on my way home sometimes, whatever. But then we're all chatting, like him and the bartender, just me being friendly. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm here for comedian's birthday. Oh, it's my first time here. The sandwiches are great, blah, blah. Just oh, look at friendly little Erica. Right. Hilarious, though, of like this casual vacation energy, Fonzie. First of all, I found out like a lot about this man very quickly, not in a bad way, of like works in tech, apparently professional skateboards on the side. Like, he's like, sometimes I travel, like, he had something coming up he's got to travel for and does like competitions. But I was like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Moved from Cali, whatever, right? I know what his rent is. Crazy how conversations. Because he was talking about like how crazy New York rent is. And I didn't ask, just got offered up.
You thought you were auditing on me.
Yeah, I know, right? I come in firing hot. I have very good interview skills, obviously. No, but just chat. And then eventually I just was like, I was like, I'm actually going to leave. But I was like, you're cute. Do you mind if I get your number or do you want to get a drink sometime? He was like, yeah, sure. Beauty. So he gave me his number. I texted him my thing. Let me tell you something, Fonzie. I got a pretty good game.
Yo, I got
pretty good
game. Like it.
So get this text I get from this man. Ready?
Yeah.
It just said Erica. It said K Linda, and I was like, oh yeah. You speak enough Spanish, you know, right?
No, I don't know what that
means.
means.
It means like how beautiful.
Oh, wow.
But this is what I realized, right? I'm not naturally a super flirty person, but you give it to me, I'll give it right back.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm very like, oh, I'll play this game.
You got it.
And your girl's pretty good at Spanish, okay? So I texted back and forth with this man in Spanish like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty hot. I literally called him a smooth talker. I was like, oh, we got a smooth talker here.
Okay.
But he was impressed with my Spanish. But I was like, I mean, I also ran this through Google Translate to make sure.
You got it.
Right? And I was like, oh, it might sound real proper or something. But I was like, no, I think I got it. I showed my Puerto Rican friend and she was like, no, this is good. This is very smooth. So anyway, that's a move. Anybody could use.
That's hot as hell, though. You're speaking Spanish to each other. Jesus
yeah, come on,
Christ.
Come on. Pretty cute. Anyway, I'm like, what time are we at? Okay, we got some. We're gonna do a couple more. All right. Okay. All right. My ex got married after 3 months of meeting the girl. I'm over him, but it still feels a bit weird. Okay, 3 months after meeting someone feels like a pregnancy situation. Or a green card situation. Something. That feels weird. That is like very, very quick. Obviously, it's one of those things like you're over them, blah, blah, blah. But then weirdly when that happens, it feels like a race. Right? It's
way
like...
worse.
But it's one of those, I'm like, I don't really think there's a lot of advice to give here other than like, yeah, it always feels weird when any ex has like something happen. It's very rare you feel nothing. Like anytime I felt the nothing, I'm like, wow, I guess I am really fully over it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's always just a little weird because part of you is like, oh, that like could have been me, or I thought that was going to be me at some point. The 3 months thing is just, I feel like that wouldn't make me feel bad. This would make me feel bad. Say I date someone 2 years, they don't propose, like dragging their feet on it, we break up. The next girl they meet, like they date a year and he proposes. That I would be upset. Yeah. And jealous because it'd be like, yeah, it just was me, right?
Right.
This is like the classic speech. They're like, oh, you're so great, but blah, blah, blah. And then immediately they start dating someone else. And in your case, I don't know how long they started dating this person, but 3 months feels crazy, right?
That's crazy.
But that's also like that. It doesn't sound like a sane or sound decision. Like, who you marry is one of the biggest decisions you make in your life. That I'm like, yeah, that should not be done that quickly.
Right.
Situation. Unless, I don't know, maybe it was arranged. Who fucking knows? Who knows? But that's like, I'm like, good luck. I don't.
God bless.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, that's always feels weird. That's why you gotta mute these people. Make sure you don't see it. You know, you probably have mutual friends. Maybe that's how you heard. But yeah, because then someone else wrote in how to cope with your shit ex getting engaged before you.
It's like a race.
Well, I was like, I mean, maybe he got engaged before you because he's not stalking your social media anymore. Because it sounds like you are stalking them a little bit. Like, have you really let it go? If you're like, my shit ex. Like, one of the best breakup pieces of advice that I got was from Amy Chan. And she said, if you are still, like, if you're hating on your ex, you are still obsessed with them. And they're still on your mind. Mm-hmm. And that actually is not going to help you get over them. So I feel like that's a little bit of what you're doing. Okay. And again, like I said, it just feels like a race. Who cares? I mean, look, the stats are still pretty high if marriage is not working out. So like, I don't know, maybe place a bet with a friend. Like, but ultimately I'd be like, yeah, you shouldn't be seeing this information. Why? How did you see this? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think you're lying to me. You didn't block him. Have I ever done I feel like last time I did this, telling people you have herpes. Have I done that directly?
I think so on our last solo.
I mean, I know. I feel like this is a question I get frequently. Right. I don't think maybe I did. I'll just do it quick. Okay. Yeah. So, how to tell a potential new partner I have herpes. Okay. I lean on be short and sweet. Okay. I think a great way to break the ice is just asking, hey, when's the last time you got tested? And this works for both you're dating someone or like you just want to hook up with this person. Either way, it's a break the ice convo, and a convo we all should be having anyway. Obviously, a lot of people aren't. But I feel like that's a good way to break the ice. Because also, they might be like, oh, shit, I can't even remember. And then it's like, okay, is this someone you even want to have sex with? Let's get real,
Jesus.
right? I mean, it's common. That's a good way to break the ice. My advice, too, is not telling someone in the bedroom setting, like, right as things start going. Because it's a very tough mind space to be in to get that information where you're essentially turned on. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? Like, the word herpes is going to be like, you know? It's a little bit of a, Or they have that boner brain and they go, whatever. And they do it anyway. Just not do it anyway. That sounds mean. But they're like, whatever, who cares? But then, like, the post-sex conversation, they're suddenly freaking out. Mm-hmm. Like, wait, what? And you're like, I told you, but you said okay. And they're like, yeah, but obviously I didn't really think it through, and now I'm freaking out, right? I've been there. Not fun. So a setting that's just not bedroom situation. For any serious conversation, it's always good to be, like, on a walk, or a lot of people say on a drive. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's just this idea of, like, you're not looking directly at each other. Mm-hmm. It's easier to open up, and also it'll be easier for you to tell them. And it's kind of nice of not having this, like, face-to-face reaction. So I'd say that, or on the phone, but short and sweet. So however you break the ice, you break the ice, and then you just have to be like, yeah, so I got herpes X amount of time ago. A lot of times, this is going to be weird. I once got the advice of, like, just say you got it from an ex or someone you dated. Because weirdly that, like, kind of gets rid of this stigma of, like, the whoreness of it, right? Like, you got it probably from sleeping around with some stranger, right? And the majority of people that get it literally do get it from someone they've dated, right? Like, for me, it was literally the first person that, like, took me on dates and then I slept with. So how much of a mindfuck is that, right? Like, I was like, oh, damn. The one time I felt like I was, like, following the rules, right? So I would be like, yeah, I got it from someone I dated. It's not really a big deal. And then tell them how you handle it. Like, I'm on meds, or I don't really have outbreaks, like, whatever. But try to keep that part just kind of as short and sweet as you can, and even say, I'm not sure what you know about it or don't know. But obviously, you know, I felt the need to tell you, because you have the right to know before, you know, we end up sleeping together. And obviously it's like, the attitude you got to have is like, this is a good conversation because, like, I want to sleep with you. Right. Like, it's coming from a good place where it's like, how flattering that I want you to see me naked. You know what I mean? Or I want to see you naked, whatever it is. But a lot of times it's like, I kind of try to give, like, just the base information and I kind of throw it to them. And this is the opportunity that they'll probably either be like, oh, I have a friend that has it, or, you know, whether they know someone or not, or they might just have some questions. And you'd be like, yeah, I'm open to answering any questions you want. Or if you want to, like, talk to your doctor about it, also fine. I usually pull that move too because, I mean, you hear from a doctor, like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I see this every day. It's amazing that you don't have it. Like, yeah, that's way more valuable, I almost feel like. So my advice always is, like, kind of short, kind of sweet, hop to it. And if anything, the only times I've had the conversation feel a little difficult or felt the person really was then, like, kind of standoffish or ended up not being with me, it always was because they, like, just had no education on it, like, ever. Like anything, where it was like, oh, like, it makes me realize, I'm like, oh, I forget how the average person knows nothing about having herpes or dealing with it. And like I said, that's why a lot of times I tell anyone that has it, I'm like, tell a couple friends that you have it, because that's the thing that helps, like, the stigma is people just being like, oh shit, someone I know who's this awesome, cool person that I don't think is some crazy whore, like, has it. They're like, oh, so it must be common, right? It just humanizes it. Yeah. So it's a weird thing of, like, I forget because I talk about it here and everywhere so publicly that I was like, oh yeah, some people still just don't know. So you have to approach it from that angle of, like, hey, I don't know what you know or what you want to know. Because a lot of times people will just be like, so what does that mean, like, sexually? Do we always have to use condoms? And I'm like, no, we don't always have to. Like, I've been with people without it. They've been fine. They didn't get it. But I'm like, you know, for me, that's more of, like, are we exclusively seeing each other thing? But even if we are, I'm like, hey, I'm not mad if you want to keep using the condoms. Like, I don't care at all. Like, if that's what makes you feel comfortable, great, right? Okay. I mean, we all should be using condoms. Goddamn.
Damn right.
All right, what time we at? I got time for one short one. Ooh, okay. Ha! This one. Okay. Dated a guy for 6 weeks. Ghosted me in December. He now wants to grab a beer and explain. Thoughts? All right, Fonzie, I want you to tell me if I am correct or not on this one, because I think I'm going to nail it.
Let's hear it.
Okay. He is contacting you because his other options fell through.
That's exactly why I laughed like a psycho.
I nailed it. I knew that's true. I knew that was fucking true.
Every guy does that.
We all naturally do it.
Everyone. Yeah, even women alike. Yeah.
Right. Think of the pandemic, okay? You know how many people from the past I would randomly suddenly be like, how about that guy that flirted with me one time? Maybe I'll DM him. Like, I'm in lockdown. There's no finding anybody, right? Yeah. I'm like, that's literally what it is. Because especially to date for 6 weeks, and you didn't say like boyfriend. So we have to assume he was dating other people. Mm-hmm. He essentially chose someone over you. It happens. It happens to all of us. That person comes back. I would just tell my friend, like, I mean, you trying to be a second choice here?
Yeah.
Like, or that guy, I'd be like, we dated for 6 weeks. You know what you're getting? Like, you want to be my boyfriend or what?
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's grab a beer? No. A beer? No. You should at least offer me a meal, dog. A beer.
That's so disrespectful.
A beer.
That's crazy.
Not even like a nice cocktail. A beer.
Yeah.
Let's grab a beer, bro.
Not even let's get a drink and like talk. It's like, yo.
Dude.
Try and get beer, homie?
Get a beer? I know, like, wow. What? Oh, I'm one of the homies. Jeez, I'm the homie.
Jeez.
God,
We're splitting that bill, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I've been in your shoes, honey. I would not want that. Ugh. Okay. Well, I think that's it for today. I think I've had enough. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm tired. Like I said, I'm in that vacation energy. Okay, so one, if you want to submit questions, I post my little story thing every Sunday, but obviously you can also DM the show. We want to do some longer form ones on here when I do a solo ep, maybe, or with a guest, obviously. But at Shooters Gotta Shoot Pod, that's where you can find us everywhere, and or submit your questions on my little Sunday or TikToks you want us to do, whatever. We could do little screenshots, do little banter things. You know what I mean? That could be fun, right? Anyway, but if you want the episode weekly, join the Patreon, patreon.com/shootersgottashoot. And yeah, I can't think of anything else. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Tell a friend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.